What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode, opening up another podcast to always talk about our favorite team, the Arizona Cardinals. And of course, I'm joined by my good buddy here, Mythic AZ. Brother, how are you doing? We made it. We made it. One game left.
Right, we are finally here, pushing the off season, doing really well. How are you doing? I'm really excited for what's about to come up.
Me too, man. Me too. This offseason is going to be what most exciting for Cardinal fans because these last several weeks, with the exceptions of some flashes here and there, but man, we made it. I think we could all deserve some sort of hug, some sort of pats on the back. We did it, man. I'm excited. This offseason is going to be good. Obviously, we got to go through January and watch playoff football, which is not a bad thing. But
Right.
usually week 18, you see a lot of starters sitting, especially if they are number one or they're already solidified into their seating. So we're going to probably see that here come week 18, but that's not going to change here for the Arizona Cardinals, or at least per Jonathan Gannon. Let's dive into the big breaking news, shall we? Let's talk about what Jonathan Gannon just told us this morning, and that is that DJ Humphries is done for the season with a torn ACL. What are your thoughts on this, and how are you feeling about DJ Humphries? I know you kind of wanted to trade him away
Yeah.
in the offseason. What are your thoughts on DJ Humphries?
It's so unfortunate, just the timing of everything, and just as a football player, because DJ Humphries is a good guy, good locker room presence. Just you hate to see anybody go down in general, so it's brutal in that aspect. And I mean, it just feels like the Cardinals and ACLs the past 2 years have not been good. Kyler, you have DJ Humphries now, you have Zach Ertz who tore his ACL, so it just keeps piling on, piling on, piling on. It's super unfortunate. Just whatever route you take, whether it's a trade value, whether it's just him as a person, overall locker room hit, it just sucks. Overall, it's terrible hit for this team.
Yeah. I agree. I guess just kind of really depending on where you are at with the whole situation, right? Keeping DJ Humphries, not keeping DJ Humphries. It's this type of injury is going to be bad in the beginning of the next season. Let's call it like it is, because looking at the recovery time, and I get it, it's different for everybody, but if you're averaging anywhere between like 6 to 9 months, that's probably going to bleed into the beginning of next season, right? Maybe preseason. He's probably not going to be available in training camp, all those type of stuff that you kind of need for this offense to keep learning this new playbook going into year two. So it's definitely very unfortunate. I don't know if the Arizona Cardinals are going the route of getting somebody else, deciding to trade him. It doesn't sound like that. It almost kind of seems like JG really, really likes DJ Humphries, and I don't mind him personally. It's just we're seeing a lot of stuff that kind of makes Cardinal fans hit their heads against the wall sometimes, because it's almost false starts, all these things that he kind of does, holding calls, all this different stuff. So we'll have to kind of wait and see, hopefully for a speedy recovery for him, and hopefully he's better like JG's.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also shout out Outlaw real quick. Happy birthday, my guy. Appreciate you for stopping by, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it.
Happy birthday, man. Happy birthday. Yeah, crazy stuff, man. We got one more game left. I'm excited. We're gonna hopefully ending up the season here with the division rival, with the Seattle Seahawks. There is some implications going on for more of the Seahawks than the Arizona Cardinals. But before we get started on that, let me go ahead and just do a real quick shout out, real quick, to the new up and coming channel. Now, this channel before, I'm not sure if you guys knew, but this channel was originally branded the NFC West Network. It got rebranded here to Big Red Pod, where obviously me and Mythic, chop it up and talk about, Cardinals, our favorite team. But for the other people out there that do not know, we basically revamped the NFC West Network, and now it belongs to the NFC West Roundtable. If you guys can do me a huge favor, go ahead and subscribe to the NFC West Roundtable. We go live every Tuesdays, and I kid you not, I've seen so much Ram fans on there. It was wild. I've never seen a Ram fan a day of my life here on YouTube, but they were flooding that chat up, and hopefully you guys can go over there and subscribe it up every Tuesdays. We go live over there and chop it up and talk about the NFC West. So let's talk about our division rival, the Seattle Seahawks, unless you have something else before we get started on that.
No, I'd say we dive in.
Yeah.
It's an interesting game in
It
many
is.
facets.
It is. It is a very interesting game. Like I said a little earlier, we're seeing teams sitting their starters. The Cardinals aren't going to do that. What do you expect for the Arizona Cardinals and the Seahawks last game of the season?
Where's this game played at?
Here.
Where is it played at? Here.
Here.
Seahawks typically own us here.
Yeah.
So if history repeats itself, then Seattle's going to take it in a game that's huge win. But at the end of the day, I'm just expecting competitiveness, just like I was last game. Just like show a little bit of fight. I wasn't really expecting it last game, and somehow we walked away with a win. So I don't know. My expectations when the game is high, they end up collapsing right in their face. When it's not high, they end up coming out here and doing insane things. So I don't know. I just want us to be competitive because this game does mean a lot for Seattle. So they're going to come out here and give it 110%. So if we can come out here and make it competitive in a game where they're trying to win and trying to make it to the playoffs, like they're going full 100%. If we can just keep it competitive, then great sign. Even coming out with a win, I wouldn't complain.
I guess that's gonna be the big question here, right? Because JG is saying they want to go for the win. Kyler Murray is coming out here saying they want to go for the win, right? They want to play winning football. But at the end of the day, that draft pick it could put you down, especially if you win. Now, obviously, playing spoilers against a division rival would be kind of exciting, would be kind of cool. But what is your sense? Like, what do you want the Arizona Cardinals to do? Like, obviously, you don't want them to purposely lose, but like, how do you want this outcome to come? Do you want to win? Do you not care? Do you want to lose? How do you feel?
I wouldn't mind winning. Like, if we do win, I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's the worst thing ever. But like, right. I'd be very 50-50. Like last win, it's cool. We can drop it. Going from 2 to 4 is not the biggest thing in the world. But like, if we drop past 4 and go to like, let's say 6 or 7, I don't know if that's possible, but that would suck a lot. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for a loss into a competitive game. It's like dream scenario because as it stands right now, this is what we're looking at. So let's just say the Giants lose and the Chargers and the Titans all lose. Then we win. I don't know how this plays out. I don't know how this shakes out, but there's a potential we drop to 7.
Yeah, so it's all depending on the strength of schedule is what we're hearing here. So like if you take a look here at that SOS column, and I'm not sure if you can see it on your screenshot, but the SOS column on there, the Arizona Cardinals have a 0.562 strength of schedule. So if you have a higher one, you're going to be lower. So like let's say for example the Cardinals do win. And we're 5-12, and let's say the Giants lose, Chargers lose, Tennessee loses. The Cardinals might find themselves like going down to like 7 or possibly 7. I think 7 is probably the furthest we can go back because the Giants have 6 wins. So we can't attain 6 wins.
Yeah, so I say loss for sure. You don't want to go from 4 to 7. 4 to 7 takes you out of a lot of situations. Like whether you want to draft Olu, whether you want to draft Joe Alt, whether you want to draft someone like this, it takes away a lot of things because then New York probably won't end up taking a left tackle, right? But the Chargers might, unless I think they have Rashawn Slater, so maybe they're not. Tennessee needs everything. So if we drop to 7, that sucks because Tennessee could snag them, right? Like any team could trade up, do some crazy things. So I don't know. You want to be at 4, you want to control a little bit because there is a chance you can even get Marvin Harrison Jr. at 4. Like who knows at the end of the day, like if Chicago trades out and 3 QBs come out, like who knows?
You know, that is a realistic situation, right? I mean, because if you take a look at it here, the Chicago owns that number 1 pick. We are literally under the barrel. We're literally like waiting for what are you going to do? To me, I think I'm in the consensus where I don't think they're going to move off of Fields. I think Fields is going to be the guy for them. But like, where does that leave Chicago? Because obviously the further down you go, the more draft you can accumulate. But there's so much people in the draft world or the Bears world that are saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be their guy. So like, I get that's their prize, and they can literally go to 2. They can go to 3 and probably accumulate another first round pick for next year. But like, dang, like we are literally waiting for them to see. But like, I would rather have like an Olu for Shanu or if they feel like a Joe Alt's better. Like, cause it depends on who you feel is better, right? It's either Olu or Joe Alt. Like, I would rather have a pick of the first of anything other than quarterback. Like the first of, like, let's say, for example, the first of quarterback goes and the first of wide receiver goes, right? We have literally the pick of the best. I guess you could throw a tight end. I know we don't need tight end, but I'm just saying best of tight end, best of offensive line, best of cornerback, at our fingertips. And we can really make a decision for the Arizona Cardinals there to see like what we can do kind of moving forward. So I would love to stay at the 4 too. And I'm not saying I want to lose and I'm not saying I want to win. I think I agree with you. I think a competitive game is probably the best case scenario for the Arizona Cardinals. Cause although I talked my smack about, a win's a win, but like there's a big difference between 2 to 4, the 4 to 7. You know what I mean? It's a bit different there. So Jonathan Gannon wants to win. Kyler Murray wants to win. We do got a super chat. Daily life stuff. Appreciate you, man. He comes in here clutch with the super chat. He says this: I think we need to make it a 1-score game at minimum. If we lose, we should lose for draft picks and keep the game within 1 score. So pretty much kind of saying the same thing that we're saying here, where I get spoilers would be cool. but this is really where it's going to determine what the Arizona Cardinals draft pick is going to be for next year. I'm not saying purposely lose, and I'm not saying purposely win. I'm just like, it just gives a competitive game is what we're looking for at the end of the day. What are your thoughts here on daily life stuff?
I agree 100%. This is exactly what I'm saying. I'm going to echo on this as well. Just super close. Like the best case scenario is losing by 3, like game-winning field goal. Like, oh, dang, we're right there. Or like a touchdown. Like, I don't want the ball to be in Kyler's hands down 3 again, because I feel like every time the ball's in Kyler's hands down 3 or down something, we're always going to come back. And I don't know. Kyler Murray's shown it time and time again ever since being a quarterback here. Like, if it's a game-winning drive, no matter what the adversity is, if it's 99 yards facing the other way, we're going to drive down and have a chance. And it's like, I don't want that where it's like we're down 3 and it's like, okay, well, this is from 4 to 7 right here where we're going to teeter-totter back and forth and we have a chance to win this thing. Like, I just hope Seattle has the ball and kicks a field goal and just tie game. Like, dream scenario right there.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out for the Arizona Cardinals. Because, yeah, that 4th pick sounds not bad. And I do think in a world where, let's say, for example, bringing back the graphic, and I know we can't see people past this, but there are some people that can possibly get a quarterback like, let's say, for example, Atlanta, which are sitting at the 9. Vegas are sitting at 11. And who knows what Minnesota is going to do. But, like, they could possibly trade up. I get it. That's going to be a big, big jump. And if I was Chicago, I wouldn't go that far back personally. But possibilities are open, right? If you want to get as much draft picks as you possibly can, because you still do have a pick in the 10th spot too. So like maybe you can go back to back. I don't know. Do you see the Cardinals? Oh, not the Cardinals. Do you see the Chicago Bears moving out of the top 10 for somebody, or do you think they're just going to go to like 2 or 3?
I guess it depends on what the capital is and who's calling. Like, I don't know. It's tough because maybe they do go someone like Rome Odunze. Like, genuinely, they can go get someone just like that as well. They're like, okay, we can miss out on him. Let's go trade back to 8 with like the Raiders or something like that.
Or what if the Arizona Cardinals win and we're at 7 or 8 and we get Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze? And we trade up to get an offensive lineman or interior defensive lineman from that 17th pick.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it plays perfectly in our court to just like hope that it just like falls in our lap, so we don't have to make a trade unless it's like trading the 17. Then we'll trade 17 up. I would. Right. That's a dream scenario. Is trading 17 up, landing at 4, and then take like Olu or Alt. You gotta. If we can get another premier tackle. This is what like. If the Marvin Harrison Jr. dream is dead, this is my alternative that I was saying Monday. Is if you can go and with DJ Humphries going down, it kind of just solidifies it for me. Like, there's nothing more clear now. If Marvin Harrison is gone, I want Joe Alt or Olu, and then I want us to trade from 17. Do we have any other graphic showing, or is it just through 8? Because what teams would be a threat? Like, where would we have to trade at the minimum?
You're talking about from that 17
for Rome.
Honestly, like if you were thinking about getting Rome, I would probably say anywhere between like somewhere in the 12, like 12 and higher is what I would say. Like, I think we're 5 picks too high to possibly get a Rome Odunze. Personally, I mean, that's just kind of a personal opinion. You know, honestly, to be honest with you, here, I might want to play spoilers because 7, I get it. I just said it literally 5 minutes ago. But the world scenario where, like, if we could possibly get a Rome Odunze or a Malik Neighbors and still maybe even, like, let's say, for example, we missed out on Olu Fashanu and we missed out on Joe Alt. What if we can get Jazeer Newton, which is the best interior defensive lineman in this class? Like, you know, dang, options, man.
Right. Like, I guess if it falls into that, like, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're first round selections. Like, you can't go wrong in this situation. Like, you really can't. They're still first round picks. So regardless of what happens, it's like there's going to be talent on the board. Like, if you don't get your dream scenario at 1, with me, it's Marvin Harrison. You can potentially get Joel or Olu Fashanu. Mm-hmm. And then if you do win this game, then you have a chance for Rome Odunze. You have a chance to go pick him up and then also take someone else on the back end. Or if you land at 4 and everything goes wrong, or say we drop to 7, you go get the best interior defensive lineman in the draft. There's so many things that can happen that I really do
Yo,
like.
honestly, I am not mad at that. I'm not mad if we win, honestly. Like now that we're kind of talking about this, and I'm seeing the chat, you guys are helping us, and kind of helping us, maneuver our takes. I think that's not a bad option. Daily stuff says if we don't get Marvin, I think we grab the best DT. And then he also says we still have free agency cap for wide receiver, up for RD like basically up our defensive line in the draft is what he's saying.
It's crazy. The Cardinals have so many options now. So many options. And I don't know. I don't hate any of them. I really don't at this point. Like, we can win out, and then I don't think I'd be mad. I really don't think I would be mad. And you've been high on Roma Dunze for a long time. And I kind of just came into that. Like, you know what? If it comes to that, like on Monday, I'm not going to be mad at all. I think he's fantastic. And I was sold. Like, either one of these guys. Malik Neighbors is cool to me. Like, I have no problems with Malik Neighbors, but in my opinion, it's Marvin Harrison, Roma Dunze. It's like 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
1A, 1B. I think Marvin Harrison is still super generational, and he's going to be insane because quarterback play, because Michael Penix is balling.
Dude.
Did you see the post he threw? I was at, I don't remember where I was. I was at Chili's and watching it on like the TV. Yeah. And I was watching like the game or whatever. And I watched him throw that on a rope. Like just an absolute dot. On a line. Zipped it on a post between two people. And I was like, no way he just did that. Like even watching it like with your eyes, and you can just tell when someone zips it. And this man just absolutely dimed it. So I don't know. Like the quarterback comparison from Adunze to Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison has a worse quarterback, and he's putting up those numbers. So It kind of just speaks volumes to who Marvin Harrison is. But man, look at these stats real quick.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you.
125, 6 receptions, and another win. They're going to the Natty.
Dude, this guy had over 1,400 yards. And I get it. Sometimes it doesn't translate, right? But like, I don't know. I feel something about this guy. I feel like he's going to be good. Now, obviously, I want to make my final decision in the combine. Now, I know the combine doesn't really mean too much, but to me, it kind of does. I want to see what he does, like with the workout and a person who's not familiar with throwing the ball to. Kind of want to see what he does. I want to see what kind of 40 he runs, all that kind of stuff. I hope he gets involved and we can see what it is. But like we've seen a number one prospect, right, not work out, but the second one does, right? Like let's kind of talk about Justin Jefferson, right? How many wide receivers ended up going? Now, granted, yes, that was still a good class, but like Jefferson is a great wide receiver, and he was picked up what, 24, 26?
I think like 16, 21. Somewhere, I think 16 to 21. Let me go.
Something like that. Oh, was it 16? Was it that low? Yeah, definitely find out. But yeah, the Cardinals can do anything, man. And honestly, now that we're talking about this, we're going to go back to Cardinals versus Seahawks here in a bit. I promise you we will. It's just, there's just so many options because I do like the idea of Olu Fashanu or a Joe Alt, especially if the Marvin Harrison dream is over and he goes at 2 or 3. But if we do trade up from that 17, and granted, we also need to make sure that the Texans lose this week. So they're not in the playoffs because that 17 can also bump into something that we probably don't want. So bad Texans lose for us, please. And let's just kind of hope to see what happens from there. So
absolutely. Texans got to lose. So Justin Jefferson was picked at 22.
22. Okay.
22. So I don't know. Are you high on Malik Neighbors? Speaking of LSU receivers, I'm not like, I don't know.
I'm not. I just, I don't know. Like, I think my mind is sold on I want a big body receiver. And granted, Malik Neighbors is like what, 6'1", 6 foot. I want a big body. I want a 6'3", 6'4". Give me a Larry Fitzgerald remembrance. That's what I kind of are looking for in this draft.
So Malik Neighbors is 6 foot even. 6 foot. I feel like he's good. I really do. I feel like he's good. Don't get me wrong. I do need to watch more tape on Malik Neighbors because I'm not as familiar with him as I am with Rome Odunze and Marvin Harrison. I've actually watched college games back. Like, I'm not a college person, but I've actually watched their tape. Yeah. I've been insanely impressed. Still think it's Marvin Harrison, then Rome. Yeah. I have to watch Malik Neighbors a little more. I've only seen highlights, so it's hard to speak on that and actually like watch it. But I don't know. Like, I feel like he's solid, but I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. We'll have to kind of wait and see to kind of make our final decisions, but there is still prospects for days for the Cardinals, and in Monty Austin Fort we trust, right? That's what we're going to be going with right now. We have to wait to see how this guy ends up shaking out. There is another wide receiver that people aren't really talking about, Keon Coleman, I believe from Florida State, another big guy as well. What are your thoughts on him? Have you seen him at all?
Very briefly.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's definitely solid. He's the other 6'4" guy at Florida State, right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of receivers because Keon Coleman was balling this season too, but I don't know. Like the yardage just wasn't there, and towards the back end of the season, he kind of disappeared. Like he's a touchdown machine, but I don't remember how many yards he had all season, but I'm pretty sure there were a lot of games where it was like 1 or 2 reception games for like less than 40 yards.
Right. No, I agree.
So,
I have a question here on the chat. Somebody asked if we do get T. Higgins or Pittman, and I get it, it's a far fetch, but if we do get some sort of wide receiver, do you still go wide receiver in the draft with either of your picks, the first pick?
With wide receiver?
Yeah.
I think so.
Me too. Yeah, I agree.
At some point. You can't, because regardless, if people go off the board, like there's going to be talent. And I'm not a scout, and I need to dive in a lot more.
Yeah.
But there's going to be people in the second, third round as well. It's not just first round heavy and like, oh, well, we missed on 2 guys. It's no one left. There's been steals like in the entire league going on for years where people get picked up in the second, third round. Even undrafted players come into their own. It's not insanely common, but there have been undrafted players who come into their own. So I don't know. We just have to wait and see.
Was a good wide receiver at one point. Yeah.
Adam Thielen was one of the best for a couple seasons. He was top 5, like arguably top 5. Adam Thielen was balling like that. He was just catching everything, scoring every touchdown for them when they had Stephon Diggs. Such a nasty like wide receiver corpse. I don't know how they didn't win something. I really don't.
I agree. Daily stuff coming out with the $10 dono. Appreciate you, man. He says,
appreciate you, Daily.
We grab T. Higgins and Marvin. Do we draft an offensive lineman in the draft with our second first round and focus on defense for the rest of the draft and then go on a spending spree for defense in free agency?
I think T. Higgins lands in Carolina.
You think?
If anywhere. I feel like Carolina is so wide receiver heavy and they need a weapon that regardless of what it is, let's say T. Higgins wants to be that wide receiver one instead of getting overshadowed by Jamar. He wants to go be his own guy somewhere else. Carolina's the place to do it. Go help be a building block. You're going to get a fat bag. They're going to pay you the most money that you can probably get from anybody else because not only do they have it, but it's a position of need desperately. Yeah. So if he does end up leaving, I think it's going to go to Carolina and nowhere else because if he's not re-signing, like you could come here because we do have money too, but Carolina is going to be able to offer him the most out of desperation.
Yeah, that's probably true. They want to surround Bryce Young with as much talent as they possibly can to make a decision on him. I agree, man. That sucks. That's true. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you kind of put me onto that. That might be real possible. Hey, Pittman, do you think, like, be honest, you think Pittman's going to stay in the Colts? I think he is.
I think so. I want to say so. I'm not sure if, I don't know. Pittman's weird. I like Pittman a lot. He gets banged up so much.
He does.
So I don't know. It's tough. Like T. Higgins gets hurt a lot, but like Pittman just gets banged up. Like he just gets popped constantly. Great receiver.
I mean, it's going to have to be a decision that Monty's going to have to make because, injuries are part of the game, which is you definitely don't want to give a 3 to 5 million or 3 to 5 year deal to somebody who isn't on the field a lot. So, yeah, they got to make that decision. But, yeah, that is a fear for mine with Pittman, too. I'm not going to lie.
I believe is Pittman the one who gets a lot of concussions?
Concussion. Yeah, he just got a concussion not too long ago.
Yeah, I think Pittman's a concussion machine. Him and Chris Olave, I believe, are the 2 people who get banged in the head constantly and somehow just bounce up like it's nothing. So I don't understand it. I don't know what happens between these guys, but like Michael Pittman and Chris Olave, it's like they have a hit on their head.
Right.
Because the amount of times they get hit is insane.
So Pittman, I think he's going to stay. I think T. Higgins will be a guy that hits free agency, even if he does sign back with the Bengals. I think he will kind of test the market and see where it goes from there. But I do think Carolina, now that you said that, because of the neediness that they have going with them, that they want to get a number one wide receiver. But man, that would be sweet if we did get somehow a T Higgins and then a Roma Dunze, because this whole wide receiving core needs a facelift. Let's call it like it is. Just because we get one person doesn't mean we can't address it in the draft.
Right.
We can definitely address it because we have holes. We both like Greg Dortch. We love what he's doing. We both say he's a dog, but like there's so much question marks with Rondale Moore. Can he do it? And we just haven't seen it at all. Marquise, another big question mark. Are we
Could
bringing
be in
him
Carolina?
back?
He could go to Carolina too.
There you go. Make him go to Carolina.
He really could, though. That's the thing. Apparently,
Yeah.
he was rumored to be their trade target in the middle of the season. Nothing materialized. He ended up staying a Cardinal. The Cardinals kind of stayed pat with him, just let it ride for the rest of the season. So that kind of has me thinking a little bit, right? Like maybe he is a guy that Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort do want to bring back.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the back end of the season was unpredictable. The
Yeah.
heel injury, like, I don't know if he's still that guy for him, if they're willing to throw a bag at him and then potentially match up a big body receiver, because it's nice to have a deep threat like Hollywood, but he did not perform.
Yeah.
So maybe he goes and tests the market, and a team like Carolina, who was reportedly interested, would probably pick up the phone if they were interested then, when they can just free talk to somebody. There's no negotiation between a team. He just hits the open market, unless we like transition tag him. But outside of that, I mean, Hollywood Brown is someone else who can get a massive bag from Carolina. And so is T. Higgins. They're both pretty realistic. It's going to be interesting to see what we do with Hollywood Brown. That kind of like dictates a lot.
I agree. I just hope we don't, like, I don't want to be negative, but I honestly, I don't want him back. I don't like, I want to see a different look. I want to see a different type of wide receiver core. I want a facelift. I want different. Give me something different. And I feel like if we do roll with Marquise, they're going to be like, oh, it's a need, but it's not going to be a big need. But it is a big need. We need weapons. We need help for Kyler. Trey McBride can't do it all, although he's a stud. He can't do it all. We'll see.
Imagine an open field of Trey McBride, like just having the middle of the field and with a lot of one-on-one coverages. It's so much nicer. Like if we had a DeAndre Hopkins still to like dictate some of the coverage and just dictate the defense to shade over a little bit and open the field for Trey McBride. Because it's like Travis Kelce, right? When they had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce was unstoppable. You have a deep threat like that, and they're like, okay, we got to double team one of them, and you can't double team both of them. Who are we going to double team? Right. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, open in the middle of the field, open for a lot of mismatches on linebackers, and Travis Kelce obviously is insanely skilled. So, I mean, Trey McBride can get the same kind of looks. I'm not saying he is Travis Kelce. It's still very early into his career, but it gives him the best chance to give us similar production. Is if you can go pair a nice receiver in this offense. And I don't know if it's Hollywood, because Hollywood's price tag is what determines whether I want him back or not. Because I like Hollywood. I think Hollywood is a good receiver. Injuries, again, concern me. That it's up there. Like Kyler's injuries concern me as well. But Kyler's a lot less than Hollywood. Because if you protect Kyler, then maybe those injuries don't happen. You don't let him get hit as much. The injuries probably don't happen. The ACL one was just a freak incident. You can't predict that. But Hollywood, it's just he's on the injury report every single week.
Every single week, yeah.
Every single one. And you can't have that from your number one receiver. Your number one receiver is on the injury report every single week, and he's questionable, because that's the worst thing. Like, oh, is our number one guy going to be playing this week? I don't know. Okay, well, guess what? We're rocking with Rondale Moore again at wide receiver 1, and Michael Wilson, who has also been banged up. Those are also concerns for him. That's crazy. We have 3 guys who are super like banged up typically. Rondale stayed healthy this season. So if nothing else went right, that went right for him. He stayed healthy. Didn't really perform, but Michael Wilson, injury concerns dating back to college. Hollywood, injuries dating back to college. Greg Dortch doesn't even get time, but he typically stays healthy, and he's on the field and he balls out.
Yeah,
scary.
I mean, this offseason is going to be nuts. We've said this multiple times, but just like all these scenarios going through our heads, like imagine what's happening in Monty Ossenfort said, the guy who's actually making these decisions. It's absolutely nuts. But obviously this is all going to be a deciding factor, not free agency, but like the draft, right? What happens this weekend? So like, let's segue into that real quick. Let's talk about Seahawks versus Cardinals. Now I get, we both said that we want to see a competitive game. If we win, cool. If we don't win, cool. I guess at the same time, it would be cool to play spoilers, but what do you think the Cardinals need to do to win this game?
To win against Seattle, I feel like Typically, I said we need to win it on the ground and just out physical a team. But Seattle is so tricky just because they have a sneaky run defense, at least when we played them. Pretty sure they played really well. And then on top of that, their secondary is probably their strength on defense. So I don't know how to combat that because I don't know. Because they still got Bobby Wagner there too, who for some reason is like 33 years old, just balling out still. So I want to say the run still. The run has been a key to success, but I feel like Seattle's going to key in on that. Like, okay, listen, Arizona is trying to out physical people. We're not going to let that happen. So we just don't. I feel like we don't have the receivers or like the assets to like match up with them just because of the secondary being so strong. They have Tariq Woolen, Devon Witherspoon.
Yeah.
They have guys in that secondary that make it tough to pass the ball. But I feel like Kyler Murray is going to have one of those games that he had last night or last Sunday.
Yeah.
Where he has a 2 touchdown, 3 touchdown performance, whether it's rushing, but Kyler Murray is going to have to be that guy and will this team to a victory. And I feel like it's going to be one of these games where our quarterback is going to have to go out there and get it done. I feel like James Conner is going to be honed in on, and Michael Carter is going to get honed in on. And maybe it is productive. Maybe despite Seattle probably knowing what we want to do, then we just run all over them regardless. Maybe that's possible. But DJ Humphries going down, tough loss.
Yeah.
Kyler Murray's going to have to step up in this one if we want to get it done. If we want to pull off the win.
Right. Yeah. I think running the run game. I was on the Roundtable Sports yesterday, and the guy who covers the Seahawks saying that they got a bad run defense. I was like, so do we. So do we. Right. So like, I think this game's going to come down to who can run the ball the best, who can be able to have the time of possession, and really keep it away from the opposing offense, right? Whether it's the Cardinals and Kyler Murray or Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. I do think that their wide receiving core is definitely better than ours, right? Was it Jackson Smith and Jigba, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett? Crazy triple duo there. Definitely better. But I do like our running back in James Conner. I feel like he's definitely underrated. I'm not going to say he's leaps and bounds better than Kenneth Walker, although I like Kenneth Walker, but I don't think he's like proved consistently that he can be a great running back. Like James Conner has had more, but I would put James Conner over in terms of like who I think is better. I think James Conner is better than Kenneth Walker. And then Kyler Murray and then Geno Smith. I think we both can say Kyler Murray is better than Geno Smith, but it really just kind of depends on what happens in this game. I think it's just the Cardinals are consistently running and it's working. This game might be winnable for the Arizona Cardinals, and we can possibly play spoilers for them to not even get into the playoffs. That would be sweet.
It might be. And that's my bad because I thought for some reason Seattle was a team that had, I don't know who I was flipping him with. I think maybe Atlanta. I'm not sure. I was flipping him with somebody. But the reason as well is because we didn't have James Conner the last time we played Seattle.
Yeah.
We had Josh Dobbs and Amari DeMarcado starting.
Yep.
That is why my mind has probably shifted.
Mm-hmm.
Seattle really doesn't have a run defense as well. It's them, the Bengals, and us that are poverty run defenses.
Yeah. Yep.
Completely slipped my mind. I got that wrong. So still, I think Kyler Murray's going to have one of those kind of games where he's borderline perfect just because of the way Seattle's going to be playing on all cylinders. But it's probably going to be the run game once again. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with DJ Humphries out. Yeah. If we performing the same way. Because we're probably playing a lot better than I would have ever expected in terms of this line. I like Will Hernandez, Paris Johnson. I like Froholt is coming into his own for some reason. He's a baller. And I don't know. It's going to be interesting because the game was close with Josh Dobbs and Amari DeMarcado. So with James Conner and Kyler Murray, we might be a different game. At a dub. We're
talking about a team. The Cardinals, we're talking about a team that has nothing to lose. Like, we got nothing to lose. We might be seeing some aggressive fourth downs in this game like JG's been doing all year. Now, the percentage hasn't been good to our favor, but like it almost kind of feels like JG doesn't care. He's just like, I'll go for it. 4th and 7, 4th and 5, I'll go for it.
Right.
At the end of the day, if it works, it works. You're a genius. If it doesn't, then obviously you get, the backlash that comes from it. But like the Cardinals have nothing to lose. If we lose, but we're competitive, We got the 4th overall pick. I think Cardinal fans are fine. If we win, then hey, we took down a division rival that had aspirations for the playoffs, that they just paid Geno Smith, and I think he's got 2 more years on his deal. Haha, F you,
Right.
Seahawks. That would be kind of cool too.
Right. You really can't lose. You really can't. And then what's also interesting that I kind of just thought about, we can also move up. I don't know how likely it is, but if Washington or New England wins and we
True.
lose, we can go to number 3. Number 3 would probably be a very safe spot unless Chicago trades back to number 2 and flips with Washington. So if
Okay.
New England or Washington wins and we lose and we jump up, what are you picking right there?
Okay,
At number 3 or 2?
Let's give me a second. Let's put a pin on that real quick. Let me get to my guy Daily Stuff super chat here real quick, and then we'll talk about that, because you're right. I didn't even think about that possibility. Why I didn't think that Washington can win or New England, I don't know, but we'll get to that here. That's a great question. Daily Stuff says, what if we trade our 1st round pick with the Saints for Olave, and the Saints get their quarterback, and we get our young stud wide receiver, and we throw in Hollywood? Screw him. Well, we can't throw in Hollywood. He's gonna be a free agent.
He's going to be a free
I
agent.
don't think what's gonna happen.
And there's no way the Saints trade Olave.
Yeah,
I think
no
Olave is almost untouchable for them.
Yeah. Good wide receiver, great young wide receiver. I like where your mind's going though. That keep them coming. I do remember like 2 or 3 years ago, somebody's like, "Well, what if we traded away David Johnson for DeAndre Hopkins?" I was like, "That's never gonna happen. You're crazy." It happens. So we'll see what happens. But yes, that's a great question. Who do the Washington Commanders play, and who do the New England Patriots play?
Patriots play the Jets, and Zach Wilson is ruled out.
Oh.
Zach Wilson's out for the game. So they're playing with like their 3rd string quarterback.
Okay.
Against New England. So we could see like a 10-6 game. This could be just super defensive based. Bailey Zappi, and I don't even know who the other dude is on the Jets. Who was our 3rd string quarterback?
I have no clue.
Like, I don't even know.
No clue.
I just know. Is it Simeon? Let's see.
Might be. No clue. And then the Commanders are playing the Cowboys. So
Commanders probably not moving. Commanders are probably not moving. But the Patriots have a chance to win. Zach Wilson out. Both pretty solid defenses. Jets a little bit better. We're going to see just a defensive shootout. Hopefully we see an ugly game where New England just upsets.
That could happen. That can happen.
Could. And if that happens, then Washington would have to swap with Chicago for them to get Marvin Harrison. It would have to be a straight swap.
Yeah.
And then both of them would most likely get their guy, if that's even the person they want. Maybe they don't even want Caleb Williams.
Here's the thing, too. The Patriots and the Jets are playing the 11 o'clock time, which is our time zone, 11 o'clock. So that's the early one. We'll find out to see if the Patriots, because if the Patriots win, dang. I don't think it's going to change the mindset of JG, but for the fans, that's definitely something to look for, right? Like, because if they do win, that's kind of something like, hey, we could possibly move to number 3. You're right. Whoa, right. I didn't think of that.
And if we're just not good enough and we end up falling in this game, I wouldn't be mad with pick 3. Like, I don't know. There's no situation that I don't hate. I'm cool dropping to 7. Obviously, it's not ideal, but I wouldn't be against it. Like, it's like, cool. No worries. Roma Dunze, welcome to Arizona.
Yeah. Get your guy.
I don't know.
Maybe if Ashanu, maybe Joe Alt falls to 7. You never know.
Right.
You never know. Dang, man. Wow. Interesting. Okay, well, this definitely made offseason a lot more exciting. I was already excited. Okay.
Right. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. Any given Sunday. Maybe Washington pulls off the craziest upset. Maybe Dallas hits their starters. Who knows? The seeding for number 1 is already solidified by San Fran. Maybe Dallas rests their starters and Washington comes out and upsets them like Houston did when they came out in that last game with, was it Houston? When they came out in their final game and lost the number 1 overall pick?
Yes. I know what you're talking about. I think it was Houston.
So who knows? Maybe Washington comes out here and it's Ron Rivera on the hot seat, and he's like, you know what? Big F you, big F you. I'm on my way out.
It worked out
Who
for Houston
knows?
though.
It
They got
definitely
CJ
did.
Stroud
It worked out for Houston very
and
well.
Will Anderson Jr., which is a guy that I was really high on, which I think he's been balling out this last few games. Good for him, honestly. Good
I
for him.
was really high on Will Anderson, but
Hmm.
Paris Johnson, smart pick. Not
Yeah,
mad. Not
you
mad.
do got to build up that line. It was rough.
Not mad at all. We can
Um,
get an edge at some point.
yeah. Dang. Wow, man. Just my head's just going through so many different possibilities right now. It's wild. What is your prediction in this game? Not what do you think or not what you want, but what do you think is going to happen? You think it's going to be a low scoring game, a high scoring game, Cardinals versus Seahawks? What do you think?
Um, I'm feeling 24-27 or
Yeah, I
21
like the 20s.
21-27. Seems like a good score. I think Seattle wins 27-21. That's my prediction. I think that's pretty realistic. I don't know why I'm feeling good about that. Just 27-21.
27. That's good numbers. Honestly, 21 points isn't bad, especially because our offense has been struggling all year. So I would take that. Um, I do think 20s as well. I just think that like with this juice that we have in playing like a team that has nothing to lose, I don't know. I think the Cardinals are going to pull off another upset. Like, it's so crazy to hear the other side of the coin. And I'm talking about everybody else in the NFC West, because like I said, I was in that stream last night and everybody was like, you guys are a team to watch out for. I'm like, oh, thank you. Really? Okay, that's cool. But like, that's the mindset of most people here. Oh, watch out for the Cardinals in 2024. Like, that's what they're thinking. They're not even being biased for Cardinal fans like we are, right? They're actually saying like, wow, what a huge win for JG, and you guys came out to play. Good for you guys. So maybe the Cardinals continue to add salt to the wound of a Seattle Seahawks team. Maybe they do upset them. I'm going to say your same score was 27-24. I would say Cardinals win. One of us has to be right.
Cardinals win, right? The thing is, I can see either way. Like, I can see the upset happening 100%. That's the thing.
Yeah,
This is a very 50-50 split.
it is.
Just because I don't know if the Arizona Cardinals are going to be able to replicate this passing game against Seattle. That's the only thing that's
fair.
iffy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I wasn't going to, even though Philly's defense is horrible,
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say we were going to dice them like that. Like, we were going to come in here with Greg Dortch and Trey McBride and just dice this defense and run for 230 plus yards. Like, I wouldn't have thought that.
Yeah.
But the Cardinals
Michael
in
Carter
20,
breaking ankles, James
60
Conner rolling
yards.
people over. Yeah, man. I mean, that's the game plan though. If we do turn into a run heavy team, I wouldn't be mad at that, man. Honestly, obviously James Conner's health is a concern because he hasn't been able to stay healthy. But like when he's healthy, he's one of the best out there. But like adding Michael Carter in here to kind of get the elusiveness there, I love it. If that's the same game plan, and if we actually keep their offense on the sidelines, Cardinals might have a real chance if they do it. Like you said earlier, we got to play perfect though.
We borderline have to play
Perfect. We have to if we want to get a W. JG wants it. I'm assuming Kyler wants it. I know what fans want. Not most of them. Some of them. I know what those fans want. But like at the end of the day, 2024, man, that's what we're all kind of playing for at this very moment. So
that's what I'm saying. I'm very, very optimistic for 2024.
Me too.
Very optimistic. Like, I feel like it's like a playoff chance, like where we can get 9 wins or we can get like 6 to 9. Like, anything is kind of on the table. And a leap is a leap. But obviously, depending on what we do in free agency and all this, kind of determines that. And if Kyler ends up coming out and getting a win, I believe he's 4-4 since returning from injury.
Exactly.
3-3.
Yeah, he would have a 500 record.
I think it would be 4-4.
Yeah, 4-4.
Like, it's insane.
You're right.
Insane. This team was 1-8. Super untalented. Kyler comes back and like, oh, we need to see him win games. Like, this team sucks. So even if he didn't, I would be like, this team is horrible. We've won some good games.
It would, yeah. Steelers, honestly, I get the Steelers look bad against us, but they're a team with Mike Tomlin. They're a team that's playing hard right now, and definitely making a playoff push. If not, they probably already locked one in. But like, that's a tough team. A tough team, and the Cardinals beat them. Atlanta, that was kind of a wild card game. I feel like we should have won that one, and good that we did.
I agree.
And then the Philly, man, that one shocked me. I was like, there's no way we're going to get destroyed in that game. In that first half, I was like, I'm right. Something
Right.
happened in that second half. Something happened in that locker room where literally a spark ignited, and they went to work, and the rest is history from there. Daily life stuff with another super chat, and then we got one more topic to cover, and then we're going to move off, and we'll close up shop. He says 17-24. I think the game ends down to the basically a field goal. Here it is for the record. Kyler, 2 touchdowns, 37 yards. James Conner, 104 yards, 1 touchdown. Wilson, 1 touchdown, 8. Okay. Michael Wilson getting involved is music to my ears. That's beautiful.
Right. Hey, if you're right, we'll come back to this. So you got to remember, if you end up hitting this, Michael Wilson pops off for a touchdown at 86 yards, Connor 104 and a touchdown. You called it.
Yeah.
You called it.
That would be amazing. All right, let's talk about this last topic here. Jonathan Ganon ended up going on to 98.7 FM yesterday, Arizona Sports. And this has basically been a video that's been going around everywhere pertaining to how he feels about Kyler Murray. We're going to be diving into that, how you feel about it. I did release a video, so people probably already know how I feel, but we're going to have you kind of react to this. And I'm pretty sure you already saw this, but let's go ahead and share this screen. And then let's dive into what JG had to say about Kyler Murray.
Is there any doubt in your mind who your quarterback is going to be for next season?
No, there's not.
He's your guy.
I love this guy, man.
Why are you laughing?
I love this guy. No, there's no doubt.
You love which guy?
Number one, our franchise quarterback. Yeah. That's who I love.
But you didn't know him. He had a lot to prove coming off the injury.
Yeah, it's been awesome. It's a good point, guys. Like, you know, being with him, being here for a year with him now, I'm more convicted than when I got here. You know, just, you know, going through the process and our, you know, connection and developing a relationship with him. And then, you know, being a little odd, you know, you got your franchise quarterback and you know he's can't play. And, you know, just seeing the work that he put in and the things that we talked about this offseason about, you know, what he wanted to improve on, what I wanted to see him improve on, what he does well, that what he thinks and what he does well, what I think. I wanted to make sure that stayed strong. And he's done everything we asked. And I just feel like, you know, what he's done, the work he's put in to get to this point, play that type of football, wins or losses, play the type of football that he has, coming off a knee in a new system, the competitor that he is. You know, I'm just, I've been very pleased with him.
All right. Thoughts?
I love it. He shut that down insanely quick. And this is something that I've been saying is I feel like they are sold and they've been sold for a long time. Like, obviously he has to come back and prove it, because if he does fall off and he just looks horrible, then decisions have to be made. But I feel like this was a conversation for nothing. Like, I feel like they knew the entire time. And Jonathan Gannon is a former DC, so he's seen Kyler Murray. He's seen what he's capable of. He knows the weaknesses. He can help him improve on those weaknesses as well. Like, listen, this is what defenses are doing to try to contain you, and we need to work on this and all this. And Jonathan Gannon knows firsthand what Kyler Murray is capable of. Former DC, he knows. And a lot of people, it's so crazy that people within the NFL world are like outsiders of other fan bases, their opinions on Kyler versus a lot of the fan bases or a lot of the fans within Arizona. It's so different. A lot of people would love to have Kyler, but our fan base is like split. So it's kind of strange. But Jonathan Gannon coming out and backing him up instantly with no hesitation, you love to see that.
Yeah. I like the fact that he came out and obviously defending this quarterback. It's definitely something where you can get caught in a downward spiral depending on what you say, because people love to dissect everything, right? And I think he definitely played it off very, very well. And I do think he believes in Kyler Murray. But at the end of the day, like, what else are you supposed to say, right? You're not gonna be like, oh yeah, I have doubts. No, you're not gonna say that because A, you don't believe it, and then B, you don't want to stir up that pot either. So I do think Kyler Murray is going to be good for next year. It's just we got to keep building. And I want to see more of that second half. That was masterpiece, bro. That was a remembrance. Yeah. I feel like that everybody remembered. Like, ooh, there you go. That's what we had in Kyler Murray. Let's hope he can kind of come back. And yeah, building up that offensive line, getting him some weapons that can actually catch a damn ball. I think it would actually work out for him. And being more familiar with the system, playing under center, footwork, all of this different stuff, it needs to be accumulated. Because I think I said this a few podcasts ago where I'm like, well, who do we blame, right? I know we're like, oh, the wide receivers suck. I'm a big advocate of it's a team sport at the end of the day, right? And if you're a franchise quarterback, you need to elevate. And I think Kyler Murray elevated everybody in this last half versus the Eagles. Greg Dortch we already know he's a dog, but like got the ball thrown to him. Michael Wilson got involved. Rondell Moore got involved a little bit here and there, but like that's what I want to see. That's what I just can keep adding it, man. Keep adding it. I love to see it.
Yeah. Najee apparently burned him for over 120 last weekend, and Warren ran for 70.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's the truth. That's what I'm saying. They have a bad defensive run defense, as we do too. But like that, who's going to be able to execute the runs? That's what this game's going to come down to. Who's going to be able to have the time of possession and obviously score the points when you need to? The Cardinals might have a real chance here in playing spoilers and making Seattle a gloomy city. Because even if Seattle does win, they need a couple things to work out for them. And I think one of the biggest thing is that they need the Green Bay Packers to lose in order for them to even be considered. So the Cardinals can play some spoilers here.
Shut it down before it even gets started.
Yep.
Fingers crossed, I guess. I mean, if Washington or New England loses, I want to lose. But
that's fair.
I don't know.
That's fair.
Can't
All
lose.
right. Any last thoughts before we close shop? Obviously, big shout out to the people that are currently in the chat here. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, definitely do me a huge favor.
Absolutely.
Smack it up. Shout out to everybody here in the chat. Daily life stuff. Thank you so very much for all the super chats. But do you have any last thoughts, Mythic?
That's about it. I'm just super excited.
Yeah.
Like this final game, we're getting close to that breaking point of like our season being over. Playoffs are about to start. Football is going to be crazy. And then after that, it's like the Cardinals' time to shine. So
yeah,
just looking forward to it.
Let's go. Love it. All right, y'all. If you want to catch the next episode live, we are going live on these dates. Go ahead and take a picture of it. This is going to be your the schedule moving forward and obviously following through in the off season. There might be kind of some changes when the off season occurs, but when it gets down to the thick of things, March and May, this is going to be the schedule we're going to be following. I'm sorry, March and April. I apologize. This is going to be the schedule we're going to be following. So smack the like button, subscribe it up if this is your first time here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day. Now, go Cards.
Absolutely.